Hi guys and welcome, this is Sean Ferrick for Trek Culture and we're going to dive straight into our last breakdown from Star Trek Day, which is the 10 biggest reveals from the Star Trek Prodigy trailer. Number 10, Dal, Rok-Tahk and Zero are the ones to find the Protostar. Now, we know of course that this ragtag group of heroes are only the ones that get on board this ship and get out of there. Now, what we weren't sure about up until this is where the Protostar and they are going to meet. They're going to meet on this penal world that they're all serving time on. Kids doing child labour. Star Trek keeping it light. We have Rok-Tahk, who's played by Riley Ellis-Raki, who the world just must protect at all costs, seems to be the one to ask the question, how did it get here? And then you have Zero, who asks the pertinent question, which is, how do we get it out of here? So straight away, we know this is obviously going to be from the trailer, otherwise they might pull a Star Trek Discovery and introduce the main ship in episode 3, although I hope they don't because I really like the look of the ship. Number 9, it's set to activate. Now, you would think that the designers of this ship would have put some sort of safety protocols on the computer core, that you couldn't just walk up and push what seems to be a comm badge or a delta and go, all right, this is my ship now. This suggests actually something a tiny little bit more sinister for me. Now, we discover a little bit later on in the trailer that someone has already claimed ownership on this ship. So, does that mean that they've already got access to the computer core? When Rok-Tahk pushes that comm badge and the whole ship lights up and it looks amazing, is it because the ship has already been jailbroken by Diviner and the rest of the people on this planet? Is it not quite the exciting and wonderful ship that they think it's going to be? Number 8, they're not experts at all. Dal, Rok-Tahk, Zero, and at this stage, Murph, who is just breaking his little gelatinous heart laughing at them as they hover in the air after they turn off the gravity plating. They seem to not really know what they're doing on this ship, and this for me is where I think the Tellarite Jankum Pog comes in. Now, the Tellarite is going to be the resident Alpha Quadrant alien in this group. We know that this is set in the Delta Quadrant. And there is a little bit of a nice Easter egg as to how Delta Quadrant it's going to be in this trailer as well. As we don't yet know how Jankum Pog came to be in this group, whether he traveled from the Alpha Quadrant or maybe a generational ship he was born in the Delta Quadrant, who's to know? But the Tellarites will be well aware of Starfleet and their technology, having been charter members of the Federation since day one. So I think Jankum Pog is going to be our kind of a Scotty Balana for this show. Number 7, GWYN needs convincing. Now, we know that Ella Purnell's GWYN is not happy with her life on the planet, but for a very different reason from the other kids. She is Diviner's daughter. Her dad is the boss of hell, effectively, and so she wants to get out and see the stars, whereas Dal, Rok-Tahk and Zero presumably just want to get the hell out. It actually includes a scene of Dal saying to GWYN, come on, you said you always wanted to see the stars, as though she almost has to be convinced to go, which is very interesting and means that they're all going to be coming together on the one ship from very different walks of life. And it will be strange now to see, is there an adjustment period? Is there, is she going to take a while to get on their wavelength? Likewise, are they going to take a while to get on hers? Number 6, Penal World, Diviner and DREDNOK. Now, we get some shots of the world that they're trying to escape, and to be honest, yeah, I don't really want to hang out there either. Looks a little bit like Rora Pente in the middle of summer. Solid pass, thank you. Jimmy Simpson, who has come over from Westworld, House of Cards, and It's Always Sunny, voices the main lieutenant of the planet, DREDNOK, and he says, there is no hope here along those lines, which is very evocative of what is written into the gates of hell in Dante Alighieri's Inferno, abandon hope, all ye who enter here. And this, I think, is a way of, it's a nod to the parents who are watching this as well. We know that this is a show that is primarily aimed for children, but it's Star Trek. We're all gonna be watching it. So this is a historically classical reference that potentially the 10-year-olds in the audience might not get, whereas the, much like myself, kids who went to English college because they hadn't a clue what else they needed to do, will get the reference straight away. We also get our first line from John Noble as Diviner. Now, he's going to be the big bad of the season. He's GWYN's dad, and he is very much aware of the Protostar, to the fact where he grumbles, I want my ship back. And, anyone who understands the word alternate knows you don't want this guy coming after you if you've got something of his. Just saying. Number 5, keys on! Number 4, the Protostar works just fine. They managed to get the Protostar up and off the ground, and they're flying it through what seems to be sort of a perimeter guard. Now, there is some pretty funny moments when Dal is kind of roaring for everyone to make the pew-pews happen. You know, what are the pew-pews? Hit the pew-pew button! And how many have us sat there and made the sound of a phaser? You don't have to admit it in the open, but I did it. So when Jankum roars out in delight, "We've got phasers, baby!" I am there for this. I remember pretty much yesterday smashing my ships into each other and pretending there was a big space battle. So this is really exciting. So that part of the Protostar is working just fine. We can see it's got landing gear, and it's also got a fully operational system that none of the kids seem to recognize. Number 3, they don't know what a hologram is. Finally, we see Kate Mulgrew as Captain Janeway, or the holographic version of Captain Janeway. We hear her wonderful voice as she says to the crew that she's seen many wayward crews in her times, and this one certainly has potential. And as I got goosebumps, Dal turned to Jankum and went, "What is that?" Which means they obviously aren't familiar with holo technology, which it leads me to wonder, where have they come from if they are unfamiliar with this, in the Star Trek universe at least, fairly basic piece of technology. But of course, really, I was just excited to hear Kate Mulgrew's voice again. Number 2, lots of action. Now this I think is important because Star Trek has such a varied history, with action to drama to occasionally plodding stories to occasionally there's a story, no time for a story, pew pew. So this, I get that it's a trailer, but it looks like it's got a nice balance. You have Dal seems to be taking over as a leader and seems to want very much to share that with GWYN. You have Rok-Tahk, who I would just watch all day, every day, because she's just adorable. And Murph, I have made my feelings on Murph quite clear. We also have Janeway, we have Jankum, which means we have quite a few characters straight away. We know who our villains are going to be. We get it. You know, there's going to be the whole story of, oh, Zero can't be seen by anyone. That's bad, isn't it? You know, there is a lot to discuss. We know as well that although the episodes are going to be short, the pilot is going to be feature length. And on that, number 1, October 28th. This is the premiere date of Star Trek Prodigy. This was revealed at the Star Trek panels there on Star Trek Day. And actually, now, the interesting thing about this is, just to bring over news from another panel, Star Trek Discovery, that is debuting November the 17th, which means for the first time since 1999, DS9 Season 7 and Voyager Season 6, we will have 2 Star Trek series airing in the same week. Now at the moment we have Lower Decks, Picard and Discovery are all airing, but kind of one after another block, whereas these will be airing on the same week. So while you spare a thought for myself, Chris, and the rest of us lovely fools of Trek culture, just know that you're going to be enjoying a lot of Star Trek coming up soon. Guys, that's everything from Star Trek Day and everything for Star Trek Prodigy. If you reckon I missed anything, please drop it into the comments below. Guys, huge thanks to everyone who likes, who shares and subscribes. I cannot tell you what a difference that does make. It really does. If you can, please take the second, because every time you do, we are able to bring more content to you. So guys, thank you so much. I have been Sean, we have been Trek Culture. You can catch us over on Twitter at Trek Culture. You can catch myself at Sean Ferrick on all of the usual socials. Whatever you're doing till I see you again, which will be pretty soon, Star Trek Lower Decks, you live long and prosper. Thanks.